Hey there and welcome to Scandal Steep. Justin seemed cheerful, probably because he had never experienced something quite like this before. We were inside the Trap Music Museum, an institution that celebrates some of Atlanta's most influential rappers. Icons like Future, 21 Savage, and, of course, Rich Homie Quan were honored here. Quan, a native of Atlanta, gained national fame but never forgot his roots. Recently, a shocking development occurred when Quan's father decided to release the CCTV footage from the night of Quan's tragic death. The release of the footage sparked a flurry of speculation, with conspiracy theories emerging and new questions about the circumstances surrounding Quan's passing. Could this be the moment that confirms what some had suspected all along? With new evidence in the spotlight, the burning question remains: what does this footage reveal? And could it hold the key to unraveling the truth behind Quan's mysterious death? Rich Homie Quan was a game-changer in the rap industry, but many fans are unaware of how wild his journey really was. He took Atlanta's trap music scene to mainstream audiences and even found himself embroiled in some serious beef with his own crew along the way. Quan grew up on Atlanta's East Side, living with his mom and siblings while spending weekends with his father in Decatur. Back then, Quan was more into reading and baseball than music. He was so skilled at baseball that he earned a scholarship to play at Fort Valley State University. But even with the scholarship, school expenses were still too much for him to handle, so he had to drop out after just a few weeks. Without baseball or a clear plan, Quan found himself working at the airport. However, the 9-to-5 grind wasn't his style, and soon he turned to breaking into houses to make ends meet. In a 2022 Vlad TV interview, Quan admitted he wasn't robbing houses when people were inside, and the first time he did it, he didn't even realize what was happening. His friends had told him they were going to cut some grass, but in reality, they were breaking into a house. Quan stayed outside that day, but they were caught, and Quan ended up in jail. After his release, he figured if he played it smarter than his friends, he could avoid getting caught again. He spent the next few months breaking into hotels, but eventually, the law caught up with him again. This time, Quan was hit with another burglary charge and ended up serving 15 months in prison. It was during this time behind bars that his life took a new direction. Before he was locked up, Quan had been dabbling in rap, but he wasn't serious about it. For the first 6 months in prison, no one even knew he could rap. Then one day, another inmate started freestyling, and Quan knew he could do better, so he jumped in. His fellow inmates went crazy for his skills, and soon, people were giving him snacks just to hear him spit verses. That was when Quan realized he could actually make it as a rapper. After his release, Quan set up a small studio in his mother's garage and started recording music. Things changed when he met a man named Tiza, who was buzzing in Atlanta's underground rap scene. Tiza showed Quan the ropes of the rap game and helped him get into a real studio. Unfortunately, Tiza was shot, but Quan didn't slow down. He invested in his own equipment and continued recording in his mother's garage. Quan began burning CDs of his tracks and distributing them all over Atlanta. That's when Fly, a man who ran an independent label called TIG, heard his music and wanted to sign him on the spot. In his Vlad TV interview, Quan mentioned that he was homeless when he signed his deal with Fly for $119,000. Instead of receiving the entire amount up front, he requested Fly to pay him $400 per week. Things started to take off for Quan when he released his first mixtape, Still Goin' In. By 2013, he was making waves with big names like Gucci Mane, YG, and Jeezy, but his breakout moment came when he dropped the track Type of Way, which went gold. By 2014, Quan's career reached a new level when he teamed up with Young Thug and Birdman. Quan and Thug had already made a few tracks together, so they hit the studio again to work on a full project. Birdman stepped in and made them the faces of his rich gang crew. Everyone knew Quan and Thug had chemistry, but no one expected their collaborations to blow up the way they did. When they released Lifestyle in 2014, it went platinum and dominated the charts. A few months later, they followed up with the mixtape Rich Gang, Detour.1, and the rest was history. Quan and Thug seemed poised to take over the rap game together, but things fell apart unexpectedly. Most fans are unaware of the wild story behind their fallout. Shortly after they started blowing up, Quan announced that he was stepping away from Rich Gang to focus on his solo career. At the time, no one knew there was drama brewing behind the scenes. However, during a tour with Travis Scott, Thug called Quan dumb during a show, which Quan later admitted hurt him deeply. Initially, no one knew what sparked the beef between Quan and Thug. People speculated that it could have been over money or industry politics, but the truth was far more serious. A few months before Quan distanced himself from Rich Gang, a man named Big Nut was shot and killed in Atlanta. Big Nut was well respected in the streets and had ties to the rap scene, particularly with YFN Lucci. He was also close with Fly from Tig. Back then, Quan, Thug, and Lucci were all on good terms, but everything changed after Thug's YSL crew was allegedly involved in Big Nut's death. Big Nut's killing set off a wave of violence, with reports suggesting that as many as 4 people lost their lives because of it. Quan was also close to Big Nut, and rumors began swirling that he cut ties with Thug because of the situation. To make matters worse, there was speculation that Thug might have been involved in the shooting of Quan's father in 2014. YSL Woody and another man reportedly pulled up to the barbershop owned by Quan's father and opened fire. Quan's dad was hit multiple times but survived the attack. There were also rumors that Quan's father had beef with Birdman, which could have escalated the conflict. Allegedly, Quan's father didn't trust Birdman and didn't want his son to be involved with him. Some speculated that Birdman might have had something to do with the attack on Quan's father to pressure Quan into signing with him. In the wake of Rich Homie Quan's tragic passing, the streets of Atlanta were buzzing with rumors, whispers of betrayal, and speculations about the role of those closest to him. Despite his untimely death being attributed to an accidental overdose, many fans and insiders have raised eyebrows, wondering if there was more to the story. The strange circumstances surrounding Quan's death, combined with his recent history, have left many to question whether foul play was involved. For years, Quan was seen as one of Atlanta's rising stars. His gritty lyrics, combined with a melodic flow, allowed him to transcend the local rap scene, earning him national attention. But with fame came pressure, drama, and a series of controversies that would ultimately shape his career and, some believe, lead to his demise. Throughout his journey, Quan's ties to the streets remained strong. He had friends, family, and rivals deeply entrenched in the same rough neighborhoods he grew up in. And as much as he tried to rise above it, the drama of street life seemed to follow him. One of the biggest moments of tension came from his connection to Young Thug, another Atlanta-born rapper who, like Quan, was climbing the charts and gaining recognition in the industry. Their collaboration, under the Rich Gang banner, was seen as a powerhouse movement in the rap world. They were two young, hungry artists, determined to dominate the scene together. But it wasn't long before their friendship started to crack. By 2015, the friction between Quan and Thug was no longer a secret. While the public was unaware of the specifics, it was clear something had shifted. Thug took to the stage during a Travis Scott concert, hurling insults at Quan, calling him dumb. This public outburst only fueled rumors that there was more to their fallout than simple artistic differences. At the time, Quan remained relatively quiet on the matter, focusing on his solo career. But those in the know hinted that the tensions between the two rappers ran deeper than anyone could have imagined. Then came the shooting of Quan's father. In 2014, his father, Corey Lamar, was shot multiple times while working at his barbershop in Atlanta. Miraculously, he survived, but the incident sent shockwaves through the community. Many speculated that the attack was more than just a random act of violence. Some believed it was tied to the ongoing drama between Quan, Young Thug, and their respective crews. The streets were buzzing with rumors that Thug's YSL, Young Slime Life, crew might have been involved. At the time, there was no concrete evidence linking Thug to the shooting, but the whispers persisted. Quan, for his part, never publicly pointed fingers. But those close to him knew the toll the incident took on him. His father was his rock, and seeing him come so close to death weighed heavily on Quan's mind. As he tried to move forward, focusing on his music and family, the shadows of his past continued to loom large. Despite the drama, Quan managed to maintain a degree of success. He dropped several projects, collaborated with big-name artists, and even secured a few hits along the way. But the constant pressures of street life, fame, and personal loss seemed to wear on him. By 2024, many believed that Quan had finally put his demons to rest. He was staying out of the spotlight, focusing on his health, and distancing himself from the drama that had once consumed his life. Then, the news of his death hit. At first, it seemed like just another hoax, the kind that frequently circulates about celebrities. But soon enough, it was confirmed. Rich Homie Quan was dead at 34. Initial reports pointed to an accidental overdose, with some even speculating that it was due to a tainted pill. The rumors of drug use weren't new to those who followed Quan's career. He had long been open about his struggles, admitting to partying hard and occasionally indulging in substances. However, he had always maintained that he wasn't addicted, that he had control over his habits. But as the details of his death began to emerge, the narrative shifted. It wasn't just the overdose that had people talking. It was the strange circumstances surrounding his final moments. His girlfriend's frantic 911 call, describing how she found him unresponsive, frothing at the mouth, sparked more questions than answers. Some began to wonder if Quan's death had truly been accidental or if there was something more sinister at play. In the days that followed, more theories began to surface. Some suggested that Quan had been set up, possibly drugged without his knowledge. Others pointed to old beefs, questioning whether someone from his past might have had a hand in his death. After all, Quan's name had recently come up in the ongoing YSL RICO trial, and some believed that his involvement might have put a target on his back. At the center of these rumors was YSL Woody, a former associate of Young Thug who had turned state's witness in the RICO case. Woody had been making headlines for his explosive testimony, implicating several high-profile figures in various criminal activities. During one session, Woody was asked about his relationship with Quan and whether there had been any beef between Quan and Thug. Woody's answers were vague, but his mention of the barbershop shooting only reignited suspicions that Quan's death might not have been as straightforward as it seemed. Some of Quan's closest friends and family have refused to rule out foul play. While the toxicology reports have yet to be fully released, many are left wondering if his death was truly an accident or if it was the result of a long-standing feud that had finally boiled over. As fans await more information, the legacy of Rich Homie Quan remains a complicated one. He was an artist who, despite his talent, was constantly pulled back into the streets that raised him. His rise to fame was filled with triumphs, but also marked by personal loss, betrayal, and tragedy. And now, with his untimely death, many are left to ponder what could have been. For now, all eyes are on the toxicology results and any new developments that might shed light on his final moments. But until then, the world is left with more questions than answers, wondering if there was more to Quan's death than what meets the eye. As Atlanta and the rap world mourn the loss of yet another promising talent, the stories, rumors, and speculation will undoubtedly continue to swirl. Rich Homie Quan's life and death serve as a reminder of the pressures that come with fame, especially for those who come from the streets. His story is one of ambition, success, and ultimately, tragedy. And as the world waits for the full truth to emerge, his legacy will continue to be debated, dissected, and, hopefully, honored in the way he deserves.